it's just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Davy Clay. Wave your hand, Davy. And Josh Smith. There's Josh, are both dental billing experts with 10 plus years experience working in the dental billing and dental insurance industry. Their passion is helping dentists and their staff to realize and change the inefficient, inexperienced, and sometimes illegal billing practices taking place within dental practices. Both have a similar background with a degree from the University of Georgia, as well as both working for a DSO to start their careers. They started Dental ClaimSupport in 2012, knowing the need existed for insurance expertise in dental practices. Dental ClaimSupport is one of the nation's leading dental billing companies, helping dental practices across the United States increase collections from insurance. Using the system they created, Dental ClaimSupport transforms the way dental practices manage insurance collection, as well as making the practice more efficient and getting claims paid. And I can tell you that being a dentist for 32 years, dentist, you ask them, well, what's the code for routine cleaning? And they look at you like, is there life on Mars? I mean, how they go work at some associate for 3 years. They have nothing good to say about it. And I say, well, you actually worked for a DSO that owns like 100 offices. So what business did you learn? Oh, I didn't learn any business. I just kept a solid bad attitude for the whole time. And then what you said, which slapped me upside the head and why I wanted to get you on this show, is on your website. You write lightly, sometimes illegal billing practices. Dude, you know, when you go on cruises and you're in Cabo and you're in Acapulco, when you see dentists that look like you and speak English, there's a story there. Wow. What made you leave Iowa and go set up in Cabo? Well, this is one of the issues. One of my best friends had the most adorable wife, but she was a little lax and a little crazy, and she sent in the wrong Medicaid billing codes for about 10 years. And when they finally broke it down, the lawyer said, well, it's not a matter of if you're going to jail. It's, do you want to plead? So he had to go to Mexico. And so he's living in Mexico because his lovely wife is not a criminal. But she didn't dot the I, and that's why I tell people don't get in bed with Medicaid, because if you get in bed with anyone, you're going to get screwed. But when you get screwed by the government, every government only has one thing in common. They have the power. They can project power onto an individual, arrest you, put you in a cage, or kill you. And those aren't good sleeping buddies. I mean, you don't get in bed with people that have a gun and reserve the right to kill you. And this is the classic reason why I won't do Medicare and I won't do Medicaid. I won't get in bed with the government because I can be just misinformed and make a mistake, but they're going to punish me with a whip and a chain. Do you agree with that or disagree?
No, I agree. I think one of the first lectures that we both attended was Dr. Roy Shelburne and Dr. Charles Blair many years ago. But that was the topic of that seminar was the civil lawsuits that occur and then the criminal lawsuits that occur on top of that. So not only are the dentists having to pay back the money, then they're also serving time criminally because of somebody in their practice that was coding incorrectly or submitting things inadvertently. Sometimes
we see it both ways. I know what he's about to say. He's going to say sometimes they don't know any better, and sometimes they do know better. We've seen both.
So you think Ron Shelburne? Do you think he knew better or didn't know better?
I don't know. I don't know his case that well specifically, but essentially what I do know is the doctor is ultimately responsible for anything that goes on under their wing and in their practice, even without them knowing. So unfortunately, they are the ones responsible. So,
well, he was on episode number 391, and just on YouTube alone, it's got 1,000 views. And by the way, I'm just so humbled. We put up that lawyer last week, Dr. Odgers, and just on YouTube, it's over 10,000 views. So I love reading your views in the comments if you have questions. But the bottom line is, my buddy, everyone knew. I mean, he was the greatest dentist in the world, threw the best parties. He was just a great guy. He, to this day, living in Mexico, couldn't tell you what the code was for anything. Mm-hmm. So him and his beautiful, lovely wife just bumbling along and had to leave the United States of America because they had the wrong code. That is the only reason. If you need another reason not to do Medicare or Medicaid, you're from Mars. I can't help you. You know, would you date a woman who on every date had reserve the right to shoot you in the head?
No.
The way you're laughing, I think you dated that woman. I think I can tell. So anyway, please stay for this whole show. I know I'm a dentist. I get it. You want to pull a wisdom teeth and you want a bone graft. You don't want to learn anything about dental billing experts, but you have to wear all these hats. So talking points. What are the top insurance issues that you see in dental practices today?
So essentially, if you break it down, there's 3 different kind of phases of a claim. You got the pre-claim phase, you got the claim submission, and then you got the post-claim phase. So in those phases, in the pre-claim phase, it's credentialing, whether you're going to be in with Medicaid or not, or PPOs or not. There are certain rules to follow once you do go in accordance with those. Getting the right fee schedules in there. Data entry is probably the biggest issue we see. We handle practices all over the country.
Did you say data entry?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get you guys to slow down because I know my homies. My homies can do an apicoectomy, but they don't know anything about everything you're talking about. So you said the insurance is 3 issues. It's 1 is pre-claim phase, 2 is submission phase, and 3 is post-claim phase. So let's just start with 1, pre-claim phase. You said it was credentialing, data entry, insurance verification.
Correct.
Which just still pisses me off that I have to have a full-time human being to verify insurance. I'm like, Delta, where is the app where if they have Delta, you just come in, they open up their app, I bar scan it, and it says, oh my gosh, this is Davy Clay and his deductible. Why do I have to pay a human being to call every single person and go through the verification insurance form? And whenever we try to automate it, it's like, okay, 32 years, whenever I've tried to automate it, I've had to go back and stick my tongue in a light socket to be reminded. But anyway, so talk about pre-claim phase, credentialing, data entry, insurance verification, and why the hell do these people not have an app to do all this for me?
Unfortunately, all the insurances work on their own. So every website is different. That's why you can't automate it. We've tried. I know multiple companies have tried to automate it. It's very difficult. Certain dental offices want one thing, certain dental offices want another thing, on codes and that sort of thing. So that makes it very difficult. But even back to data entry, and a third of the claims that are sent out don't get paid on automatically. And that's due to things like insurance verification.
A third, say again, a third of the claims, what? A third of dental claims
never actually get through and get paid on that first time being sent. So
1/3 of dental insurance claims don't get paid on the first submission?
Correct.
On average.
So what would the number have to be before they fix that? Would it have to be half, all of them?
Well, it's the dental office needs to correct all that up front, and that's because of data entry problems that the claim never gets through the clearinghouse to the insurance company because of errors in demographics, whether it be the date of birth is incorrect, an ID number is incorrect, social security number is incorrect, subscriber or guarantor, whoever, and then the insurance verification part of it as well. So if an office is not doing insurance verification or having somebody do the insurance verification for them, then they're submitting claims based on patients telling them what insurance they have, not maybe getting insurance cards off the bat at the front desk. So a combination of those things literally create a third of the claims not getting to the insurance company correct.
Wow. Now is this, so basically what you're saying is your own receptionist is screwing up 1/3 of the claims, not Delta Dental, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. You're putting in the hands of.
I'm saying the dental office is the reason for these.
Right. And it's because that, the dentist had 4 years of formal education in dental school. The hygienist had 4 years of formal education in hygiene school. And the dental schools back when I was in there decided through their infinite lack of wisdom to shut down all the dental laboratory programs And then they were shocked when all the crowns started going to China. So there I am lecturing in Hong Kong, and they only have one dental school, and I'm in there, and they had twice as many dental laboratory students as dental students. And then when I would go to those dental labs in Shenzhen, I'd say, well, what made you get into the dental lab business? And they said, well, the Department of Economic Security at China saw what all the other countries were closing down their dental lab schools. So China blew them all open. And if you want to hire someone that has a 4-year degree in porcelain, you got to come to China. And it's the same thing with the receptionist. They have no training. They're hired off the street. Why did you hire Karen to be your dental office manager? Well, she had 5 years experience with Dr. Coney across the street. Really? What happened to him? Oh, he killed himself after he went bankrupt. So I hired her with all that experience. Okay, so there's no training. So they hire people off the street. There's no formal education. And you're saying they submit 1/3 of the claims incorrectly.
Correct.
You got it.
Nice. Okay, so what's the good news?
All right, so that leads into the claim submission phase. So once
No, I don't think my homie's got it. The pre-claim phase is credentialing, data entry, insurance verification. What is credentialing?
Credentialing is essentially getting in network with PPOs and or the Medicaids. And that's totally up to each dentist as well. Whether some are fee for service, they don't want to deal with insurance companies. Others see it as a marketing tool to get new clients, to get new patients. So they go in network with the MetLife, the Delta Dental, United Cordia, Cigna, whatever it is. These days, umbrella networks are causing some issues with fee schedules. At being at the front desk, the front desk staff doesn't know, are we in network with this company? Are we not in network with this company due to the umbrella networks?
Oh, okay, but slow down, Spanky. They don't even know what in network and out of network is. What does it mean when? I mean, a quarter of my listeners are in dental school, and send me an email, howard@dentaltown.com. Tell me who you are, but they're still in dental school, so she doesn't know what.
Sure.
Network.
Yes. So you have the opportunity to go in network into a PPO. Like I said, these could be MetLife, Delta Dental, United Concordia, depending on the employers in your area. Some large employers may have a MetLife, and to get new patients, these people from the employer going on the website and saying who's in network, who can I go see that will take my insurance. So
okay, so then what does out of network mean?
Out of network is a fee for service. So essentially, a dentist may say, I don't want to be in network with any dental insurance. And when you're in network, you have to accept a fee schedule, and the fee schedule is governed by the insurance companies individually. So if you want to have your own fee schedule and not be in network with anybody, you don't credential yourself at all, and you just become a fee for service dentist.
And then the insurance company, to abuse you, when they pay the claim, they'll send the money to the patient instead of the dentist. Is that correct?
In some cases, yes, that is correct. So
is that a rare case or a majority case?
It's probably 50-50.
Are there certain players that do it all the time and some that do it? Okay, who always sends it to the patient and who doesn't?
A typical Delta Dentals in certain states will send money to the patient if you are not a network.
Yeah, and then they want to know why dentists hate them.
Yes.
I mean, they know. I mean, in any industry, you'd say, well, what's more responsible, B2C real estate or B2B? They'd say, well, you want to be in commercial. You don't want to be dealing with crazy B2C people going through divorce and alcoholism and lose their job and domestic violence. Of course you'd send it to a business. So when Delta says, oh, you know what? I bet the smartest thing to do is to mail this to the patient. They're intentionally sticking a knife right in your rib. They know a dental office has someone that's paid to get the mail, enter the claims. And when you send it to an individual, hell, it's a 15% chance they're batshit crazy. So why doesn't the ADA just take them to court and sue them all day long until they stop this practice? I mean, do they have a reason?
honestly, I think dentists need more lobbyists in Washington due to these reasons.
Yeah.
To help dentists battle.
Oh, but they don't want to be a member of the ADA because they thought of one thing they didn't like. It's like, you want me to give you a list of how many things I don't like about your parents? My parents? I got 5 sisters. You know how many of them are perfect? But when you're talking to your mom, guess what? She's the only mom you got. And when you're dealing with the ADA, they're your only parents. So to sit there and talk to your mom and say, I wish you were a billionaire and I was going to inherit all your money. I mean, that's not, so the ADA is all you've got. And when you tell me the reason why you're not a member, all I'm hearing is that 3 out of 4 dentists have to pay the money because you're a cheapskate, lying, no good, rotten dentist. And of course, I don't like everything about the ADA, but what's the alternative? To have all the insurance lobbyists there lobbying for crap like this, and then no one's representing me?
Right.
So you pay your dues because you want them fighting the fight. And every time I've had an ADA president on here, like my in my Arizona, I know the battles they're fighting every day on Capitol Hill. But none of my drinking dentist buddy do. They don't advertise. They don't market well enough. No one, almost 90% of what the ADA does is behind the scenes. And they don't advertise. They don't market what they're doing. But you just said that Delta Dental sends the money to the patient and not the dentist if you're out of network, which is just intentional punishment to try to get you to accept that fee schedule, which is un-American because if it is, because you either economics is a joke to you or it's not. So you decided, so we got 2 guys sitting there, and Davy and Josh both want a car. And I'm your employer government. I want to help you. So I'll give you each $1,000 towards a car. Well, Davey may want to apply it to a $10,000 car, and Josh may want to apply it to a $30,000 car, but it's your money to do what you want. No, that's not Delta. They're saying, no, we're only selling $1,000 cars. There's not going to be $10,000 cars. There's not going to be F-150 pickup trucks. We're going to control the auto industry, and we're going to make you one car. Well, we've already tried that in the Soviet Union and Russia. Does Russia export a car? No, because that was their business model for 50 years. So not just like they'll pay this much towards a composite. Well, a gold onlay lasts a lot longer. Maybe I want to take the benefit and apply it to a $400 gold onlay. But Delta's like, no, we're going to make the decision that you have to have a shitty plastic posterior composite that will only last 6.5 years. And you can't apply this to gold because we're communist. We believe in a centrally planned economy, and we're making bank under the false pretenses of nonprofit. And the dentists just roll over, and a quarter of them are a member of the ADA. And that specific issue, you go out of network, they send it to the patient, and that they will not allow for Chrysler to have a Chevy, a Pontiac, a Buick, an Olds, and a Cadillac. There can only be a shitty Chevy. Brought to you by Delta, and you agree to our fee, or we're going to send the money to drunk Karen who is unemployed.
And getting the money from the patient is never easy, for sure.
Yeah. So, this is a battleground. This is where dentists should pick up arms and go to battle. And all you got to do is tell your ADA. That's the clear line. It's not woulda, shoulda, coulda. It's, do you believe in market segmentation where price has a very elastic effect on demand, that you'll sell more Chevys than you will Cadillacs? True, but does that mean we're going to ban all Cadillacs, Mercedes, and BMWs? No. Do they send the check to the patient because they have emails that could be found in Discovery that are telling them this is a really bad idea and this will really screw over the dentist? Yes, they'll find that in Discovery. Anyway, so, okay, I got off on a little tangent. Sorry about that. So the pre-claim phase is credentialing. So if you're in dental school, Credentialing is when you sign up for Delta Dental and MetLife, and as hard as I am on Delta Dental and MetLife, they're perfect compared to the government. And from here to Malaysia to Japan, I mean, I've lectured all over the world, and when you get in bed with the government, you're going to get screwed, and it can be very violent. You might wake up one morning living in Mexico because you made a mistake. Okay, so that was the pre-claim phase, was credentialing, data entry, which you say the data is entered incorrectly 1/3 of the time. And then anything else you want to say about that, or go to the final on pre-claim phase, insurance verification?
All that leads into claim submission phase.
Right. So,
but wait, you didn't talk about insurance verification.
Yeah, I'm about to get into that. I'm going to hit a little bit more on the data entry because of how important it is. So, when a patient calls in and they give you their insurance card, that needs to be entered in correctly, and the patient demographics need to be correct in order to actually do the insurance verification, which you are right is most of the time done by an individual in your office. 1/3 of those claims don't get through to the insurance because of data entry, and another thing is all the exclusions. To your point with the good analogy about your insurances is they don't want to pay claims. That's another reason they'll send a payment to a patient, because there's a chance that patient gets mail from Delta Dental. They don't want to read that. Nobody wants to read anything from an insurance company. That's when it goes back in the trash. But it could have been a check in there, right? That happens all the time. And we'll get into more of the staff education at the end of, collecting up front when you know that a patient is going to be paid by their own insurance. Collect up front. That's patient education as well as staff education. But data entry, and then along with the insurance verification, you need to understand what is going to be paid and what benefits can be paid by the insurance for a patient. You don't want to be doing you don't want insurance to dictate your dentistry. And I'll say that again, do not let insurance dictate your dentistry. But if you get in network with an insurance company, yes, you're getting in bed and you are shaking hands with them saying, I am only allowed to charge my patient this much. If you have a missing tooth clause or if you have a frequency limitation, I have to accept that. And I've got to tell my patient that. That's why understanding insurance verification is paramount to making sure that these claims get through to the insurance company correctly and then get paid. And then you get away from the 33% of claims that don't get to the insurance company the right way the first time. If you can handle the data entry the right way, the insurance verification the right way, and you do that part, that will limit that 33%. But there will still be claims that you have to call back on. There will still be claims you have to research.
Okay, so I want to give you a little history lesson on that. So there's this, I went to Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska, where they had the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett of Berkshire Hathaway, and he lectured to our freshman business class because he was good buddies with the head of business there. And Warren said there's two businesses you don't want to invest in. One, if it's capital intensive. I mean, like say you want to get into nuclear power. I mean, you got $10 billion to build a nuclear power deal and perhaps not make a penny of revenue for 10, 20, 30 years. So he doesn't like capital intensive, and he doesn't like, you have the freedom to price. So if you don't have the freedom to raise your price, well, inflation's going to raise your price. Every time the earth goes around the sun, all your staff wants $1 based on the zodiac symbol. And so when they're setting the price and inflation's raising yours, they know where your profit margin is and they keep you just enough head over water. And I can prove it because since I've been a dentist longer than probably you two have been alive, please tell me that you're both older than 32. How old are you guys?
33.
Are you really?
Yes.
You're both 33? Oh,
yeah.
Right. You were alive when I was born. That just made my day. You were alive. The bottom line is that, my gosh, when you don't have the power to raise your price, the insurance companies, I'll tell you how I know this, because 30 years ago, the dental insurance companies like Cigna were saying, well, I don't want these dentists making all this money. We're going to have our own dental offices. And they hired some of my birdies like Herb Kaufman and others around here to open up their own dental office. And then they're running them and they're like, we're losing money. And it took them like 10 years. I remember going up to Kaiser Permanente. They had 9 offices in Oregon, and they brought me up there. I met with Danny C. up there, and they were like trying to figure out what's wrong. What are they doing wrong? Because they're not making any money. It took them all a decade to realize, oh my God, the fees we're paying them They don't even make money. Thank God half their patients are paying cash, and they're not smart enough to know that they're losing money on us and subsidizing their loss with cash. And then I'll give you another example. There's no Fortune 500 company in cattle. You know why? You guys know, you're in Georgia. Most of the cattle are raised. Grandpa is an accountant. His wife's a school teacher, but they got 50 head of cattle, and they're not smart enough on Quicken to know that they ain't making any money on their cattle. You factor in all the land, the feed, all the time, the vet bills, you're losing money. So when you're in cattle and 99% of your competition is willing to not only lose money, but never even know it, that's not a good business to get into. But Warren Buffett would say, pick a business that's not capital intensive. That's why you don't buy the land and building underneath your dental office, and you don't buy a $100,000 CBCT when you can just, like every other doctor, send them a script to go get their MRI taken somewhere else. You don't need it. And all your periodontists and oral surgeons will do it for free. That's why you don't buy capital intensive stuff. You stay mean and lean, as Rick Kirshner would say, and then you have the power to price. So that when your overhead goes up, you can sit there and say, well, you know, I want my overhead to be here. We're going to raise our fees, but the insurance companies take that away. But my point is this: are you mostly dealing with dentists in Georgia, or are these all around the United States?
All around the United States.
So what percent of dentists do you think are out of network today?
With everybody?
With everybody.
Not all.
I mean, I'd probably say less than 5%.
Yeah, I absolutely. And what do those 5% have in common?
5% that have in common, they're probably going to be in an area where they don't need to be in network with anybody. And the other 5%, it might be like they might have enough fair fees and they do good enough dentistry that they run a well-run practice, and there's no need for them to be in network in order to, you know, increase their patient base.
I think it's the older demographic as well.
That's true. And yeah, and older dentists tend to be out of network because, again, this is fairly new when you really think about it all, you know, in the whole grand scheme of things. It's fairly new.
So when you go around the world, you get to see different levels of where people are experimenting with governments and insurance and all that stuff. So when I got out 32 years ago, every dentist in the United Kingdom was in bed with the government deal. And it took them 10, 20 years to realize what was going on. They were getting the low end of the stick. I've seen it in Singapore. I've seen it all around on the world, various stages. But what Americans are still doing is they're trying to set up these high overhead factories of, you know, 1 or 2 hygienists, 2 or 3 operative chairs, this big volume practice where they're not making hardly any money. And then when you go to a real mature market like Singapore or the New Breed in London, they're saying, you know, I'm going to have one operatory. I'm going to charge $1,000 for a crown and $400 for a filling. And if I just do one filling for $300 and one crown for $1,000, I'll go home today with $300 in net income. And then there's that UK dentist across the street signed up with the government, and he saw 40 patients today and went home exhausted and actually didn't even make any money. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to tell you that healthcare is not a game of volume. If you were going to have prostate surgery, let's keep it personal, you know, where one screw up, it's gone. Would you want a guy playing low fee, high volume? Or would you want a guy who does one surgery in the morning, one surgery in the afternoon, and is out of network?
We have that conversation with dentists all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That you're working harder for less. Yeah. Instead of working less.
And here's why, you know, and that's exactly it. You see dentists that are overworking themselves literally day in and day out. And we see some dentists working 6 days a week. I mean, you're gonna end up hating it after a while. And, you know, they're seeing twice the amount of patients because their reimbursement is twice as low as somebody that might be next door to them, but not in network and not in bed with every single insurance company. You know, so to keep up with the person next door, you're having to see that many more patients. We see it all the time.
You know, it's fun when you're young, because when I got out of school, I used to just be amazed that I did all my dental school requirements every 2 weeks. I mean, I was like a kid in a candy store. All the candy was free. All the lids are off the jars. And I worked 7 to 7, 7 days a week the first year, just because I couldn't quit shoving candy in my mouth. I mean, a broken tooth, you know, it was just so fun. But my God, you can't keep that up. I mean, I'm 57 now. If I had to do that now, I would just drop dead in the chair. So it's fun when you're young and you're just filled with energy and you're green and you just want to have all these cases. But healthcare is not a game of volume. And when government says, oh, people can't afford it. Well, they afforded their house. They afforded their car. The average person that gets lung cancer was able to buy a $10 pack of cigarettes 7 days a week for 3 decades. But now that they need lung cancer treatment, which is less money than their Ford 350 pickup truck, now the government decides that you're too stupid to make that decision. We got to decide for you. And people believe that stuff. It's crazy. So the first was the pre-claim phase, which was credentialing, sign up and network, data. And by the way, if you're starting a scratch practice, you're doing all this marketing to grow and grow and grow and grow. So why don't you just pick the half of America? What percent of America does not have dental insurance?
I don't know.
Good question. It's just more and more common nowadays, of course. So obviously that percentage 5 years ago is a lot less of people that had to have insurance and folks that don't have insurance.
Well, but what I'm saying is, if you want to target market, like some dentists say, you know what, I just want to target elderly people for implants. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you target people who don't have dental insurance? So you have the power to price. Okay, so you talked about insurance, data entry, insurance verification. So the next phase is claim submission, clearinghouse orders. What's going on there?
Correct. So the clearinghouse is the vessel in which a claim gets from your dental software in the office to the insurance. That's every single office in the United States should have a clearinghouse. Now, do not be mailing claims still, all your primary claims. We still come across offices that are not utilizing electronic claim submission. You are wasting money. You're wasting time. I mean, not to mention all the hours, all the man hours in your office, stuffing envelopes and whatnot. So first and foremost, make sure that you're submitting claims electronically. But the clearinghouse.
And what percent in your field experience, you've been doing this for a decade, coast to coast, what percent are still doing it snail mail?
I'd say 10%.
I'd say 10 and below.
Okay. Yeah. So 5% are out of network and 10% are still in paper. And I just got to tell you on behalf of my friends, the ones that are still on paper that are my age, a millennial might look at him and say, he's just a dumb old man. No, they don't like the hacking. They don't like the ransomware. They didn't want to go digital. Has nothing to do with anything other than they didn't want somebody to hack in and have everything on a damn computer. And there's some truth to that. You know, they do have a point, but so 5% are out of network and less than 10% are still doing, so 10% are doing it by mail. Okay. What else?
Yeah. So the ones that are submitting the claims, electronically, they have to use a clearinghouse. The clearinghouse is paramount to making sure that you're taking care of you're basically making sure that these claims are getting there the right way. Whenever you submit a claim and it goes through the clearinghouse, you can actually go to the clearinghouse website and see if you had any validation errors or rejections and take care of those right then and there. That will limit, again, that 33% that we talked about. If you go ahead and you work those claims that had a validation error, a validation error is anything from a date of birth not being entered, provider ID number being wrong, MPI number, tax ID, things like that. If you can go and fix it right then and there and submit the claim, that means when the patient comes in for their recall 6 months later, you're not going to have that issue because you fixed it in your dental software as well. You can also fix other rejections. If you find out that the patient told you they had MetLife and you didn't do your insurance verification like you should have, but they end up coming back and they don't have MetLife, you're able to actually call that patient, figure out what insurance they may or may not have, and get the claim resubmitted. Again, all of these claims are going to show up on your outstanding insurance aging report. And that over 30-day report is a perfect snapshot and tells you a perfect snapshot of how your office is operating on the insurance level. Across the United States, we like to see insurance aging reports that are over 30 days old. Only 10% of the aging report actually be 30 days old in outstanding claims. So to put it in perspective, say you have $100,000 in insurance claims outstanding, you really should only have $10,000 of that money being over 30 days old in claims because of the way that that if you're doing your data entry correctly, if you're doing your insurance verification, if you're sending claims electronically and checking your clearinghouse, and you've got the right team in place that is educated enough and they know what their roles and responsibilities are, and you're taking care of it, you will limit the amount of denials, and that's going to increase your collections and your overall collection percentage, which is paramount to running a well-run office.
Well, denial, I thought that was a river in Egypt. So just to go back to who has dental benefits, if you go to the NADP.org, the National Association of Dental, it's basically 77% of the population has dental benefits. So a quarter doesn't. So there's 324 million Americans, 249 million have insurance. So a quarter doesn't. And so I would rather do one filling for $200 and make $50 than to do 7 fillings for break even or $20. I mean, again, dentistry can be a game of volume when you're young and this is so damn fun and you never thought you'd get to do this many root canals in a week, because in dental school, I mean, it took you years to do that number. But gosh, when you get older, you're going to get tired and slow down. So when you said about going to that site to check your claims, what site are you talking about?
Yeah, so there's multiple different clearinghouses. You've got Renaissance, Dental Exchange, and et cetera. They all have their own website in order to go and take a look at your claims that you submitted that day. That's where you would go, and that somebody needs to be checking that daily in order to keep up with it.
But what percent of the dental practices does someone check it daily to keep up with it?
Oh,
I'd say under 5% are checking that daily. Multiple offices across the United States, when they hit that submit button, they think it automatically gets to the insurance company. And a lot of these same offices are the ones that when the check shows up or the electronic funds transfer shows up from the insurance company, they go, okay, well, that claim paid. They're not doing any claim research. And that's how the 33% of claims don't get paid on, which is decreasing the amount of money that doctor's putting in his or her pocket.
Okay, so let's go logistics. You like snail mail. I mean, you don't like snail mail. You like digital electronics, of course. The trade-off to that is ransomware and all things digital. And we just had the Wisconsin Dental Association. Did you hear about that one?
no.
Oh, anyway, they had they got hacked into, and a lot of dentists with the ransomware, that was tough. But back to is there any insurance practice management software that's easier to do everything you're doing, like Dentrix, EagleSoft? Is there anyone where you say, because young kids are listening to you right now, they're in school, they're going to go to wherever REM started. Where did REM start in Georgia?
Athens.
Athens, Georgia. You know that is the greatest. That should be like the music capital of at least the solar system, perhaps maybe the universe.
We agree.
REM is the best. So if REM decided to open up a dental office, what practice management software do you have any favorites, or are they all equally the same?
I'm an open dental guy.
Yeah. And I know my homies are thinking, how do we invite people on the show if they like open dental? No. I had no idea. But yeah, basically, if their IQ is high, they're on open dental. And if they have no idea what their return on assets, return on equity, insurance, if they know almost nothing, they're on Dentrix or EagleSoft. But anyway, continue.
I don't mind Dentrix. It's okay. But when open dental came out, that was...
Oh, yeah.
To me, there's nothing.
It was dental software simplified.
Yeah, and I want to say a thing. I have a special needs sister, and one of my best friends, Mike the Man Murph Dog, works in a special needs daycare home. And they're the happiest people in the world because they're not aware of any problems. A lot of people feel sorry for someone with special needs. Why? They're not worried about the Trump and the trade deal and overhead. They're just the happiest people in the world. That's what Dentrix users remind me of. They just have no idea that, they have no, but anyway, let's continue. I wonder why they never advertise with Dental Town. I've always wondered why they don't. Yeah, this is why, because I tell you the truth and it costs me money. But the bottom line is Open dental. So explain to these kids why you like open dental.
Man, the ledgers. I mean, I love going through the ledger. Honestly, I love the patient info site. Just everything about it when it comes to claims and posting payments and group checks and everything about it is just, to me, line item by line item posting, getting, especially offices that are paid on collections, paying their associates on collections and hygienists on collections. It's just so easy for all that. Reporting is by far better than any other. Like I said, I don't mind Dentrix, and I can post in Dentrix, no problem. EagleSoft, that to me, that's a totally different ballgame there. I know how to do it, but compared to the others two,
Let me tell you how bad EagleSoft is. EagleSoft is from Effingham, Illinois. That's where Heartland Dental's from. They were right. I mean, when I would go visit EagleSoft, I would go down the street. I mean, the town's only 10,000, and they couldn't get Heartland to use them. Like they're homies. They went to high school together. They grew up together, and they're like, no, we're friends, but we're not that friendly, So again. And then the one I gotta give due diligence to my friend Stan Bergman, who is the CEO of Heartland of Henry Schein. He heard my views about Dentrix, and he was such a genius. He said, "Okay, I'm listening to Howard. He's been on the show." So he sent out an MBA from Melville, New York. She flew down. She spent the day with me and my team, and we explained to her how not having this Dentrix or EagleSoft or any of them hooked up to accounting, how it's just a disaster. So she had an MBA. She got her MBA from ASU like I did. She's like, oh, yeah. So Stan is a businessman. So they wrote up a letter. They mailed it to 1,000 dentists. They said, would you like these features? And it would have been every basic thing you needed if you owned a McDonald's, a Subway, or a Chick-fil-A. And guess what my homie said? No. And in this report, I didn't know if I should cry or laugh. She asked him, what changes would you like to see on Dentrix? And guess what the number one change was? To change the color of the font. At that point, I mean, I've always told my boys, when they tell me some sad story, I say, look, if you were born on Earth and there were no other humans, it would be a meaningless, horrible existence. So other humans are the only reason you want to be alive, and they're the only reason you want to just jump off a cliff. I mean, they're so challenging to love and like.
I think once people get set, they don't like that change.
Right.
They've manipulated their software for years. And we see that a lot. We see a lot of software manipulation going on.
Well, what does that mean? Software manipulation?
Just kind of not utilizing the software what it was for. Putting in your own information. This is what you always ask, why do you do this in the software? And they say that's just the way we always done it. You're like, well, okay, there is a proper way to do this. But we see a lot of software manipulation when it comes to older softwares. When you could go to an open dental and everything is essentially there for you, explained. They do a lot of trainings and online trainings to help their offices not do any manipulation on the software. So, and Josh, what are you?
Yeah, Open Dent. I mean, it's the most efficient software. It's the quickest software. Your staff, it helps your staff out in the long run because they can be more patient focused too. You shouldn't all day, every day be having to manipulate a software and post all day. You should be able to utilize your software for what it needs to be utilized for, and then take care of your patients. And OpenNet kind of gives you the ability to do that. At the same time, it's open sourced. You're basically allowed to put in a request for a certain report that needs to be run. And if enough people vote on it, they'll write that into the software and then put that into the next update. So they listen to all their clients. They listen to all the doctors and the staff members that use it, and they make it better every single month. I mean, there might be an update, and then it's the quickest software to update. I mean, it can update on each computer in 10, 15 minutes. Next thing you know, you've got the best version of OpenDent out there, and a lot of times it can have the new report that you want to run, which is huge for every office to understand the reporting.
Yeah, and the reason It was started by a dentist. Did you know that?
Sparks.
Yeah, Jordan Sparks, and basically he had Dentrix, and bleaching came out, and we were both young docs, and he tried to export all of his patients' names and addresses to labels so he could do a postcard mailing, and he got in there and found out not only could he not, but they actually went in there and programmed firewalls around it so that he couldn't. So he called the owner and said, the hell's going on? I can't even export my patients' names and data. And they said, well, that's our data. And he blew a gasket. He's like, what do you mean it's your data? I bought Dentrix. You're in American Fork, Utah. I'm in Oregon. These are my patients. And the guy in American Fork, Utah said, no, that's my data. So that was the birth of Open Dental. And when you travel around the world, every country uses Open Dental because say you're in Malaysia, and you're in Thailand. Well, you can't go in and convert everything to Thai in closed systems. So when I go to any other country with a foreign language, so yeah, I bought one copy of Open Dental 10 years ago for 1 month's fee, converted it to Thai or Cantonese or Vietnamese, and now I'm the big software developer. And I asked Jordan and Nathan, I said, does that upset you? It didn't matter because sure enough, 5 years, 10 years later, they want all their updates. And then they're like, well, you have 100 users who've used it every month. So you have 120 months pay times 100 users. So send me a fat check. And yeah, you get the updates. But it's the only thing moving forward. Everyone else is trying to control you and get you locked in to a system. And what I see about Open Dental is it's where all the DSOs are going because they can hire their own programmer. In fact, AI is the biggest thing, and it's artificial intelligence, and they only have one programming language for that. It's called Python, and every Python programmer I know in dentistry is already programming AI to the data in Open Dental to mix it with the data from their accounting, their practice by numbers. Everybody's going to do that. So how many, so this website to go on the claims, I wish you would make an online CE course to teach my homies to do that, because then they could just show it to their staff. Cause I know my homies, they're going to die not knowing what the code is for a Profi. Do you have any videos to teach them how to do this?
We do. We train all of our staff that way. To be quite honest, we're actually working on a way to actually get this out as well for everybody in the United States to be able to utilize it. And so I'm glad you brought that up because it's important. Again, I don't like the fact that dentists are a network with everybody in the world and they're overworking. But if we can help them to get as much reimbursement from insurance, that's why we're here. We're here to put money in dentists' pockets and keep money in patients' pockets. And that's really what we're about. So to your point, what you said earlier, you said, 5% aren't in network. Those are probably the ones that are still submitting claims by mail. And I get that. It's perfectly fine. But the 95% that aren't, we're still here to help them out. So yeah, the clearinghouses, absolutely. We've got videos on how to utilize the clearinghouses and exactly
what I'm on your website. I see Dental ClaimSupport.com. So no, Dental ClaimSupport.com. Do you also own Dental Claims Support?
No, I may, I don't know.
Yeah, I would because it was
probably.
But anyway, like I own dentalporn.com, and when I do, it's an inside joke, and you click it takes you to Dental Town. But I just love having an email, howard@dentalporn.com, and they say, "What is this?" And I say, "You think I made all this money legit? Obviously." Obviously, I mean, it's so obvious I'm a porn star. I mean, I don't know how someone don't know, but where's the videos? I see why outsource, billing services, about, careers, contact. Where's the videos to teach them how to?
It's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Well, you might look at it as a marketing deal. It might be one of those deals where if you put that course on Dental Town, a lot of people might discover you there. I mean, we put 400 courses on. They've been viewed 1 million times. And then what I would love about it is my homie wants to learn about bone grafting, but he could have a lunch and learn where, you go buy a couple of pizzas, you keep the staff on the clock, and you say, hey, tomorrow at lunch, you're going to get paid through lunch. We're going to send Karen to Choke and Puke and get some fries and burgers and whatever else. And we're going to watch this 1 hour video by yours truly, Davy Clay and Josh Smith, who are certified dental coders. So you guys became certified? Was that here in Arizona where we actually have the American Dental Coders Association? Did you guys go through the program to be certified dental coders?
We did.
Yes.
And is that something you recommend?
Absolutely.
So the CEO of that is Mindy Rothens, BSHA, CDBS, CDC, CDCS, right here on Carefree Highway. Didn't they write a song, Carefree Highway? So you recommend, so tell them what American Dental Coders Association is and why you think they should get certified.
Well, first of all, if you're going to, practice it and preach it, you need to know what you're talking about. So if we were running a dental billing company and we weren't certified dental coders, people shouldn't take us seriously.
And that's why I got my MBA. I realized I realized I was lecturing business and I didn't have the credentials, so I went and did this. So you credentialed yourself for the obvious reasons.
Yes, and we put our staff members through it as well. We find it very important to do that and to keep up with coding after the fact. You also learn a little medical coding as well, but I mean, it's a series of courses in order to become certified dental coders. Your terminology, your coding, when to bill something out, depending on the procedure, and you need to know that if you're going to be in an office, because if you bill the wrong things, as we've talked about, and you're billing the wrong procedures to insurance companies, they're either not going to pay it or they're going to start flagging you. So you need to know exactly what you're doing.
To me, there's no real training, like you talked about earlier, that dentists go through school and hygienists go through school. But from hiring for the front desk, there is no school for that. There's not very many, if any, tech schools maybe. But other than that, people come into dentistry at the front desk with typically no prior dental knowledge when they got in. So anything you can do in learning dental. We interview people all over the country all the time, office managers. And I always ask the one question. I say, do you have any formal training? And the answer is usually 95% of the time it's no. So to me, anything you can do formally training front desk staff, I would definitely recommend.
True or words never said. And by the way, I want to say something because I know my homies, and if they're my age, baby boomer, they're all right-wing conservatives who hate government and don't like any regulation. And they say it in, when you go to Germany and your toilet breaks down, you call a guy, the guy that shows up, he's a plumber. He's got training. He's got an apprentice. He'll fix your toilet one time and it'll work for 10 years. You live out here in Arizona, you got 24-hour toilet repair. Some guy will be here in an hour. He'll charge you 3 times more than it should have been. And the thing's broke a week later. So America, you have all this sales and half of it is crap. I would rather know that the guy building my house has some type of continuing education, training, has to take 15 hours of CE every year, has to get coded. And I think the German and Japanese model of manufacturing, I mean, think of Germany, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, then think of America, Chrysler. Why are we still having this discussion? And so I like the fact that you got training, and I'm embarrassed that Dental Town just released another course today, and let's see what the course is. It's basically dental implants from planning to restoration, grafting with socket preservation and implant placement by Dr. Charles Schlesinger. I mean, I get it. That's the coolest thing, and nobody wants to watch dental coding. I get it, but follow the money. I wish you guys would do a case on this, and because when you're a business owner, you have to wear a lot of hats, and it doesn't mean you like all the hats. Right. It does. I got my favorite hats in dentistry. I mean, I'd rather pull wisdom teeth. In fact, I should have been an oral surgeon. I could just extract teeth. I just love that. And I'd rather go to hell with Lucifer than make an upper denture. I mean, I just don't like a removable. But you have to learn this.
We love claims, honestly. And,
you
that's
love
all
what?
we do. We love claims and getting dentists paid, and that's all we do on a daily basis. So I've been in a dental office before, and my passion is the dental billing side, and dealing with insurance companies and dealing with those claims.
So you recommend the Dental Coders Association?
Sure.
And do you think you might put an insurance a billing CE course on Dental Town someday?
Oh, we will.
We will.
I think it'd be great marketing. So then we were going along the line, and we were at A was pre-claim phase, credentialing, data entry, insurance verification. 2 was claim submission phase, a clearinghouse errors. Is there any clearinghouse you like more than others? Doesn't Dentrix and Eaglesoft, don't they pretty much all use the same clearinghouse because they make money off that deal in the back end, like a nickel a claim or something?
They have their own clearinghouse. They're essentially the middleman for that, I believe.
They have their own, or they're a middleman?
It goes through like a ClaimX through a Dentrix, and Patterson has their own through Eaglesoft. Now you can still use a Dental Exchange or a Renaissance, so Dental Exchange uses Claim Connect and Renaissance uses Remote Light. Those are our 2 favorites because of how.
Okay, say it slower. So Dental Exchange,
and their clearinghouse is called Claim Connect.
Okay, wait. I'm not as so Dental Exchange, .com, dentalexchange.com.
No E in exchange, just the X.
So DentalXchange.
That's right.
Dentalexchange.com uses what?
Claim Connect. And that's one word, Claim Connect.
Claimconnect.com?
No, that's their clearinghouse through Dental Exchange.
Okay.
And then the next one is Renaissance.
Okay, yep. They're out of Indiana, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And their clearinghouse is called Remote Light. And those 2 sync up with, I've not come across, we've been in 15 different softwares, if not 20 different softwares at this point. I've not seen a software that those 2 couldn't connect with and hook up with.
So if you went direct through, let's say you're on Dentrix. If you could you go direct to Claim Connect through Dental Exchange and then not use Dentrix, and would that be lower cost? Because that doesn't Dentrix and Eaglesoft, they're just a middleman. They're just trying to make some money off the claim. Then they send it back to these other guys.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Yes,
I'm pretty sure that's the case. Don't quote me on it either, but I think we're all along the same page.
Oh, hell no. I'm totally quoting you because I don't want to get sued. And that's why I have you guys on. And so what would be the advantage of if you use Eaglesoft or Dentrix or whatever, and you said, I'm just going to go to, I'm going to use Claim Connect through Dental Exchange?
Well, I like it because essentially claims are getting kicked back before they actually get to the insurance company. And so you can go on their sites and you can go ahead, like Josh mentioned, the validation errors, the rejections, and also the needing attachments. So if you ever send a claim that needs attachments, let's say you did
you did an implant, perio-maintenance, crown, bridge, whatever, anything like that needs attachments. You can use these clearinghouses and that software itself in order to go ahead and do these electronic attachments and send them on. Another electronic attachment software is NEA, and that's good too. National Electronic Attachment. That's something good to if you want to use that as well.
Every office should have NEA,
right,
or something very similar to it if they're using it through Dentrix or Eaglesoft Direct.
So you're never going to guess what the website is for Dental Renaissance out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I was right. It's actually called Dental Hero.
Yeah, Dental Hero. That's right.
Yeah, and I've tried to get those guys to come on the show and talk. Do you ever work with them direct?
We don't. We have different contacts at both of those companies, but as far as like the upper ups, no, we don't think we have any direct contact with them.
So I wonder why that is. I wonder it's probably channel conflict. Whenever you don't know, when something seems weird, it's channel conflict. So, if you're making, if you're making a lot of money off all these other companies, you don't want to go out there on record and say, oh yeah, screw those guys, come to me direct. It's just channel conflict. And it's one of the worst things about my media company because I run my mouth off and I really piss off a bunch of people in the channel. In fact, what's funny is, do you know my history with Dental Exchange?
No, what's that?
We were in the same space. They got when the internet came out from '94 when Amazon went out, and I was slow. It took me till '98 before I wanted to start Dental Town. Dental Exchange actually went and got venture capital money, and the 5 C's of the internet were the 5 C's were content, commercials, content, community, which is what I did. I was the only one who did community. Commerce, which is what, there was, and then connectivity. And they burned through all their venture capital money trying to sell commerce. And I didn't sell commerce for the same reason I started a community. I mean, to me, that little Benco lady that comes in once a week, she's my only connection to the outside world. She's the only one that could tell me what everyone is doing. And then they were saying, oh, well, you want to get rid of her and just buy online. It's like, no, she's my only connection to the outside world. In fact, I'm on ESPN watching people talk about football, and I want to go somewhere like that and talk about dentistry. So I started Dental Town with community, but Dental Exchange burned through almost all of its money trying to do commerce. And then their most genius move at the end, they said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to take the remaining venture capital money and go buy some dental businesses. So if we actually own a real business. And since they were digital, they bought electronic claims. Mm-hmm. Brilliant, genius move. And you look at that .com bubble from 94 to 2000, and, most of those companies had no earnings, no idea what they were doing. They all went under. But Dental Exchange, they're smart players. If you're ever talking to someone there, tell them I'd love them to come on the show and talk about that. So you recommend those two. And then the last but not least, on number 3, post-claim phase, claim follow-up, posting, dual insurance staff. I know when I talk to my team, the thing they hate the most is when people come in with 2 parents, 2 parents, each have different claims. So talk about number 3, because we already went over an hour.
We could talk for another hour on post-claim phase, if not longer.
Just to bore everybody.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, just kind of what we see, these are kind of the top issues that we see in dental practices. Number 1 being that claim follow-up. And we see that not being done a majority of the time, a lot of the time.
And they could check this themselves if they use Dental Exchange. They just go to claimconnect.com and check it themselves.
They can go online and check. They can go to every insurance company's website and check claims. Essentially, what Josh hit on earlier was insurance agent report, and this is what we're talking about. So we're talking about after we've sent the claim, what's the next step on follow up? And what we tend to see in dental practices is that there is no claim follow up. So if a dentist wants to get paid, if dentists are listening, and you're saying, why am I not getting paid? Why are my collections down? The number 1 thing to do is go to your insurance agent report. And how Josh talked about, we want it to be 10% of your over 0 day. So if you run your over 0 day, and let's say it's $100,000 of outstanding money, then you run the 30-day plus. That should only typically be around $10,000. So 10% of your overall. But it's mostly having someone in your office, your insurance coordinator, your office manager, whoever it is responsible for that claim follow-up. And that's typically one of the major things that we see not being done at dental practices is claim follow-up. So when offices call us, they may have a 60% agent report. We've seen 90% agent reports. We've seen $2 million outstanding from a dental practice on their insurance agent report. So claim follow-up is by far one of the most important things an office can be doing on a daily basis.
Okay, but what can you do for them? Give you guys are being humble and shy. Give them your pitch. If they're listening to all this and they're saying, I'm never going to get interested in this.
Well, that's the reason we started this business, is because of what we saw was errors in posting and no follow-up. So those are the 2 major factors that brought us into our business. And then we added sending claims as well for the practice, because if you send in claims incorrectly, it creates more work in the claim follow-up, right? So we essentially decided to go ahead and send the claims for them as well, do the follow-up, and do the posting in the office, because those are the major areas of expertise that we felt we had to help dental practices. And that's where they needed it the most as well. Dual insurance is a different can of worms. It's very intensive knowledge to know. It takes a lot of effort. I love it, number one. Josh loves it as well. But what we have found is that dual insurance is a major hiccup with a lot of dental insurance coordinators.
Yeah, in every office, it seems to be one of the most challenging things. How to post it, how to know who's primary and who's secondary. Really, and also educating your patient on the fact that just because you have two insurances, that doesn't mean your claim is going to be paid in full.
I actually want to say that I love dual insurance because it gets the doctor more money. And that's one thing doctors don't realize. They say, some will say, I'll file the primary. I'm going to have you send the secondary yourself to the patient. Or we don't accept dual insurance. And I always ask people, I always say, well, why not? Mm-hmm. Because you're most likely going to get more money. And I'm going to get more money for you. So why don't you do this? It's just something we've never done before. Well, that's when we take over an office, that's one thing that we implement as well, to really understand dual insurance. Once you really understand dual insurance, it can really be a benefit to your practice.
And so give a strong close. What service do you provide? How much is it? How do you get paid?
Well, the services we're providing really is claim submission, claim follow-up. And I just want to hit on that a little bit. Claim follow-up and claim research are one and the same. We're making sure that claims, if a claim is not on file, why is it not on file? We resubmit that claim. If it needs more attention, we resubmit that. If there's other additional information needed, and that's by making phone calls to insurance companies and also utilizing the insurance web portals in order to figure out what is wrong with the claim. Why is it on my aging report? How can I get it paid and processed? That's what claim follow-up is, if people out there didn't know exactly what we meant by that. But that's the bread and butter of dental claim support. We make sure you get paid by the insurance companies. That's our primary focus. We still want you to be able to collect from your patients yourself, but we're going to make sure the insurance pays you. So that's the three main things that we do: claim submission, primary and secondary insurances with attachments, posting payments, and doing claim research and claim follow-up, making sure insurances pay. And then after that,
so is it a percent of the claims, or is it a monthly fee?
Our monthly fee, it starts at $1,300 a month. And if you do the math on that, 13 times 12 months is what, 16, 18?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like $13,000 or something. 13,900.
So if you take that math into a factor, that if you're going to hire somebody in your office to do it, you're going to pay them 35 plus benefits. We're going to do it for half that price. We're going to do it more efficiently. We have experts under our staff, under our training, our system that will get you paid faster every single month.
Well, I don't know what else I need to tell you. Gentlemen, I do hope you make a online CE course. I think that'd be great. I also would love that girl in my own backyard with the Coding Dental Association, Mindy Rothens, to come on the show. Because, again, our receptionists have no formal training at the universities. I mean, they can make you a hygienist. They can we have dental assisting programs all over the valley from anywhere from 6 weeks to a year. They're outstanding. And my gosh, the receptionists are just hired off the street. I prefer mine from the Waffle House. You might like yours from, but anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. Davy Clay, MBA, certified dental coder. Josh Smith, certified dental coder. Where's Ryan? Where's Ryan DeLetter? He's your third musketeer.
Yeah, I think he had a lunch meeting this morning.
He did have a lunch meeting.
We'll tell Ryan that I have 4 sons and I named my son Ryan after him, and he didn't even come on the show. But anyway, I thanks for all you do for dentistry, and thanks so much for coming on the show. And I hope you make an online CE course. Thank you for all the work that you're doing.
We will certainly do that. We certainly appreciate you having us on.
And please know, I don't mind throwing it. My email address is just josh@dentalclaimsupport.com. If anybody has any questions, send it my way, and we'll make sure we get them answered for you. I mean, again, we're out here for you guys, so just please keep that in mind.
And my email is howard@remathensgeorgia.com. Send it loud because I'll be playing the guitar with my buddy. Have a great day.
Hey, y'all take care. Thank you.